G'day everyone, Artist Wayne here, and I'm on an adventure ride. That's right, I've swapped my Enduro helmet for an adventure helmet. Trouble is, I only own one helmet. Come to think of it, I only own one bike, but it's a mighty WR250R, so it goes anywhere. Plus I don't even need to bring luggage with me, because wife Jackie is coming along too. She's driving our mighty Ram, with my bike carrier so that I don't need to ride home, and our e-bikes so we can ride the bridle track, because we're staying an extra day. Staying where, I hear you ask? Well, we're staying at the Hill End Lodge in Hill End. But why were we riding to Hill End in the first place? Well, we were part of the CSBA National Rally. It's kind of like the famous frozen butt ride without the frozen butt. Plus, this was a bit of a reunion of sorts. I was catching up with me old buddy Sammy Boy and Big Jace the bodyguard. This will also be my first adventure ride with the famous Gaz Gaz. And Mad Mal was here as well. He doesn't enduro ride with me anymore, so this is the only way I get to ride with him these days. Now this ride was organised by the famous one and only, you know him, you love him, Dusty Taylor. And I'm dedicating this video to someone who's going through a very rough time, but he's inspiring us all. This one's for you, Dave Wilson. We love you, mate. Hello, Gabby! Now, Sammy Boy, Big Jace, Mal and I met at Jerry's Cafe for a lovely civilised breakfast, whilst Dusty with a larger group met at Edgeworth Macca's before heading off and riding through the Wadigans. We, however, would stay in front of Dusty because, like Dusty always says to me, riding with a big group, Wayne, it's like herding cats. That Mal, Gaz Gaz, Sammy Boy, Big Jace and I would be the tip of the spear, making our way towards Hill End, through the most beautifully stunning countryside on the most perfect day. The beautiful and mystic Bunyip Cave, Blackfellow's Hands, ruined by a huge steel fence and loads of fallen trees. I wonder how that'll go in a fire. Before I got too dizzy, we set off again because we just needed to cross the road and we entered the Ben Bullen State Forest, a name derived from the local Aboriginal word meaning high, quiet place, which would certainly be the beautiful Ben Bullen Lookout. It's where we'd have a little break and a bite to eat whilst taking in the beautiful vista. must admit, when I rode past this little red car, I thought to myself, I wonder where he's going. And when he followed us down this hill, I thought to myself, you can't put brains in statues. This hill may not look steep in the video, but take it from me, he ain't getting back up there, not on his own steam. And where he was headed, well, let's just say, I don't think he had a hope in hell of getting through. But like Oscar Wilde said, experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward.
Get your foot on that rear brake!
Mad Mal was riding his big 1290 KTM, and that's pretty well the cut-off size of a vehicle you want to bring down here. As for the world-famous mighty DR650, well, they're one of the best motorcycles you can ride. Unless you own a WR250R. Well, the little red car that thought it could get through, but let's face it, obviously it was never getting through, was left behind as we took a trail that would bring us out just before Capity. After we fueled up at Capity, we were now riding through the beautiful Turon Gates. It's a trail that used to have some gnarly sections. I remember one year we had a sweep rider who broke his foot, and wife Jacqueline crashed here once and broke a couple of ribs, but now it's all graded, so it's rather boring, but safer. Of course, the views, well, they're still as spectacular as ever. Just look at the size of Big Jace the bodyguard. He makes me look like a little kid, and I'm 6'1". No wonder he was Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double for the films The Running Man and predator. Nowadays he just relaxes at home knowing he owns one of the largest collections of Ken dolls in the Southern Hemisphere. Finally we made it to the beautiful old historic town of Sofala. It's where I got to catch up with some of the road riders who would be making their way to Hill End for our fantastic weekend.
You're all going to Hill End, are you?
After dinner, loads of drinks and even more laughter, we all hit the sack knowing that tomorrow we would be riding the dirt trails and windy tar roads of the beautiful Hill End region. Dusty and the gang were up early with a plan to hit the bridle track and then ride on to Bathurst for lunch. We on the other hand would have a quick look in town before hitting the bridle track with a plan to return to Hill End for a pub lunch with the ladies, including Mad Mouth. Whilst Mad Mouth, Big Jace the bodyguard, Gaz and I were riding the bridle track, I couldn't help but think it would have been great to catch up with Dusty and the gang before they made their way to Bathurst.
Yeah, these are everywhere.
But we really didn't have a hope in catching up to them, as Gaz and I were happy to explore. There's just so much to see, and so many trails leading off the main track. However, this was one hill that Gaz will need to try harder on. This is also where I found a large gold nugget, but I didn't tell the boys, because he who doesn't climb the hill does not share in the bounty.
Nice! Careful. Why don't you just come up this? Careful, Gaz.
Beautiful bridle track, a horse trail between Bathurst and Hill End, likely to have been established in the 1850s. From the early days of Hill End, it appears that a narrow trail only suitable for pedestrians and riders on horseback wove a very windy and hilly trail along the steep cuttings and over the hills beside the Macquarie and Turon rivers to the major town of Bathurst. This trail along the Macquarie and Turon rivers was likely first used in the 1850s and 60s when gold was first discovered in the Hill End locality. As unbelievable as it sounds, we managed to catch up to Dusty and the gang, and I must admit it absolutely made my day.
Alan Wilson's 990 is dead in the water with a battery fault. They're looking for someone with a big shiny blue Dodge Ram to put that 990 on the back of and take him home.
Well, Mr. Dusty! What? What's going on?
Flat battery. Won't run the fuel pump. So we're wondering whether it's the battery or there was where the contact's charged. The thing doesn't want to charge, and so they've cleaned it now. We don't know if it'll work or not.
Poor Dusty Taylor, it looked like he was ready to cry. But look on the bright side, Dusty. If you're gonna break down, this was the most spectacular place to do it. Plus, if they didn't get Alan Wilson's KTM going, well, it was so close to the edge, we could just push it over. Super mechanic Dave Green was on the job, so if anyone could get a dead bike going, it was Dave. And we were now at the moment of truth.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, Dusty! On you, Dave!
Of course our story has a happy ending, just like a Thai massage. The boys and girls rode on to Bathurst for lunch. We headed back to Hill End for a pub lunch. We all had another fantastic night at the Hill End Lodge. The following morning, Jackie and I rode the bridle track on our e-bikes, and we all lived happily ever after. The only thing missing on this best of best weekends was Dave Wilson. I'm artist Wayne Dowson, and thanks for watching, everyone.
G'day, Dave. Hey, Dave.
Where are you, Dave?
Wish you were here, mate.
It's my awesome, mate! Dave!
Take care, mate. Yeah, we're thinking of you.
Hey, don't rip the bear's arms off. Listen, Dave, it's just criminal for us to be here without you. It doesn't feel right. I know that there's going to come a day. It doesn't change, nothing. Wish you were here, Dave. Well seen, mate.
Yeah, you're in our thoughts, Dave. Dave, there were more KTMs to rescue today, and you weren't here to rescue us again.
Yeah. We need you. Dave, there's going to come a time when we get some duct tape and we're going to duct tape you to one of our bikes, and we will drag you out into the bush and prop you up in a chair and give you some vitamins, and you can tell us all the stories. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, Dave.